Quick spoiler warning. I'll be spoiling a lot of Expedition 33 in this video, particularly the hardest optional boss fight before the update. If you haven't played the game, first off, why are you here? And second, go play it, it's a good one. Today we are answering the age-old question, can you beat Simon on Expert with no Lumina Converter? Yeah. I mean, of course you can. Not only have people done it, just look at this golden god straight out of Expedition 60. This absolute unit parried Simon more than 13,000 times over 11 hours while being 8 beers deep just for the bragging rights. Legend. But I am not nearly that good. I was always better at constructing brutally strong teams out of Pictos, Luminas, and weapon passives. In fact, check out my first video about trying to solo Simon with each Expeditioner without any risk. That being said, I have picked up on some of the more reaction-based technical skills amidst over 400 hours of gameplay. And I'm going to try to use those skills to beat Simon with my team of Expeditioners without using the Lumina Converter. That means while I can use Pictos, skills, weapons, and more, I can't use any extra passive boosts. The biggest consequence of this, of course, is only one character is allowed to use the Painted Power Pictos, meaning only one character can do over 9,999 damage. Which is important because Simon has about 50 million health on Expert mode. And don't worry, I'm not giving Painted Power to Mayel. Psych, I totally am. She does monstrous damage and I am not a proud man. I need all the help I can get. Let's jump into the second phase of the battle, I'll explain along the way. We'll also sum up the team at the end of the video and break down the setup in more detail. Because of the lack of Luminas, you can definitely try this one yourself. You just need 15 Pictos and maybe some recoats for stats. We're starting off with our B team, Lune and Verso. Lune goes first because of the first strike Pictos and hits Simon with her Ice Lance attack. Her other two Pictos kick in, charging critical to fill the gradient bar and greater slow to squeeze in as many turns as possible. Verso then shoots a few times and uses Paradigm Shift to build up his AP. The whole point of these two Expeditioners in this fight is to build up the gradient bar as much as possible. Simon attacks, and no matter how much we try to avoid it, he kills Lune. Excellent start. No matter, we're not going to waste any revive tints on this first team. This is really a war of attrition with our A team. Verso shoots a few times and does a base attack. He has the burning shots and charging burn Pictos so he can fill the gradient bar even more. After Simon takes Lune out of the canvas, I fail again and allow Verso to get killed by Simon's short combo. Again, not a great start. This is a good time to point out that Lune has a 99% crit rate with our stats and Pictos, which is why we put the charging critical Pictos on her. It doesn't quite matter now, but I was proud of it and I wanted to say something while you watch Verso die. Here comes the A-team, Minoko, Ciel, and Mayel. We start off by dodging Simon's powerful combo. I know, it's a sin to dodge instead of parry, but again, I am not a golden god and I gotta do what I gotta do. Plus, parries and counters aren't going to be much of a help in this battle. Minoko goes first because his Pictos give us the most speed. We go with Portier Energy because it gives the team an AP boost. You'll see that we use this skill a lot in this battle. Minoko is up again because of the faster than strong Pictos. We use Chevalier Ice to slow Simon again. Next up is Ciel. She uses Intervention to pass to Mayel. Her weapon gives us greater rush whenever we have a moon charge, and speed is king. Mayel uses Gustave's Homage to get her into Virtuous Stance and do about 110,000 damage. Clearly, I wasn't lying, she does indeed have the Painted Power Pictos equipped. Simon does a long combo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. I literally had to count this out loud every time I tried to dodge it. After surviving that attack, Simon gathers Chroma around Mayel to bring her to 1 HP. Minoko again. We use the strong energy tint to boost his AP, and we go again. We use Galt Fury to mark Simon, prepping Mayel for a strong attack. Ciel uses All Set to boost the whole team. This puts us into Twilight, which gives us greater rush, while Simon gets greater slow because of Ciel's weapon, Lithison. Ciel goes again with the Cheater Pictos, then uses Intervention to pass to Minoko. Minoko goes for Orphalane Cheers to make sure Mayel has powerful for her next turn. Minoko goes again and uses Portier Energy to spread the AP love around. Simon is up and attacks at light speed. This is the attack I struggled with the most. The dodge timing is very tricky and it attacks every character, so it wiped the team on numerous occasions. but this time we survive. Minoko uses Portiere energy again to make sure everyone is on 9 AP. He then uses Orphalane Cheers to make sure Mayel gets powerful. Speaking of, it's her turn. Mayel is in Virtuous Stance, has Powerful, and a fully charged Gradient Bar against Simon. But we use Mezzo Forte to keep her that way. Ciel is next and she uses Fortune Fury to double Mayel damage on her next turn. Intervention is next, sending the turn Mayel's way and giving the team greater rush. Now for Gommage. Normally this would kill in one blow with the right Luminas, but we still do 25 million damage, over half of Simon's health. We just have to do that whole process one more time. Mayel follows up with Gustave's Homage to get her back into Virtuous Stance. You're about to see why I don't parry in this fight. I got overconfident and Simon strikes Mayel down with his short combo, which is frustrating because this is typically the combo that I dodge most consistently. Simon gathers Chroma around Minoko, but that doesn't matter much. Minoko uses one of our revive tints to bring Mayel back. He goes again and sends a Chevalier Ice to slow down Simon. Simon attacks at light speed again. I don't remember how I figured out the dodge timing for this one. Probably a lot of trial and error. Mostly error. Ciel is up and passes around boosts again with all set, which also triggers Twilight mode. She uses Intervention to pass to Mayel. The Gradient Bar is low, so Mayel uses Phantom Strike to gain 35% of a Gradient charge. Minoko is up and he uses Portiere energy to pass some love around. He then follows up with Gross Tet Whack. This gives Simon defenseless, which is a great reason to do it, but the real reason is I wanted to make dodging that big-headed stone over 150 times worth it. And it's a funny animation. Simon throws a powerful combo at Ciel. She gets 5 perfect dodges in a row, but she gets schwacked by the 6 and goes down. Simon brings Mayel to 1 HP again, which is actually a good thing because of the 50% damage boost it gives her. Minoko is up and revives Ciel. He then goes again and I finally cash in on my break with the Sniper Lumina. You see, Verso had the Breaking Death Pictos which filled up Simon's break bar. I felt I saved it long enough. Anyway, Minoko puts another mark on Simon. Ciel is up. We go with all set to pass the boosts around once more and give Simon greater slow. Intervention to Mayel next. We're getting close. She uses Gustave's Homage to get into Virtuous Stance and it preserves the mark on him. Minoko's turn. He's out of AP, so he needs a strong energy tint to bring that back up. Even Minoko needs the AP love here and there. He uses Gross Tet Whack to reapply Defenseless. So much for saving the mark for Mayel. Simon attacks again. Try as we might, we don't dodge properly and Minoko goes down. Ciel uses her first turn to revive him. She then uses Fortune Fury on Mayel. Mayel is ready for the final Gommage. Since Minoko is so fast, he gets another turn. He starts by using Galt Fury to mark Simon. Then, he uses Orphalane Cheers to make sure Mayel keeps powerful on her next turn. We are all ready, Mayel just needs to survive this next turn, and we drop the Gommage. I'm telling you, this is the most stressed I've been about surviving an attack this whole game. We dodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. We've done it. Mayel uses Gommage and kicks Simon out of the canvas for good.
Get out of this canvas.
Gee willikers, what a fight. I've beaten Simon several times on several playthroughs, but this is genuinely the first time I actually had to learn his attacks. Every other time, I just used a riskless build. Anyway, let's break down the team in more detail. Let's start with Lune. Her and Verso are very similar because they're essentially sent in to build up the gradient charge meter, then die. On my successful attempt, they unfortunately did not survive for a long time, so we really didn't get to see them in action, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do this team breakdown at the end. First, we have Lune's weapon, Coralim. I didn't bother leveling it up because I only really wanted the level 4 passive, which makes ice skills 1 less AP to cast. This lets Lune use Ice Lance on the first turn to slow Simon. This, paired with the first of her 3 Pictos, Greater Slow, makes the impact of the slowdown on Simon, well, greater. This is also complemented by First Strike because it allows Lune to go first and guarantee the slowdown. Lastly, we have Charging Critical, adding 20% to the gradient bar each time she gets a critical hit. With these 3 Pictos and 99 points dumped into luck, Lune sits at a 99% critical chance, almost guaranteeing the critical hit. Next up is Verso. I have Chevalem equipped as his weapon only because his level 20 passive grants him Rush on rank S. This was merely a bonus as I couldn't find anything better with my current strategy. Though in hindsight, I may have been able to build a similar strategy around using Dualiso with the charging attack Pictos for a better way to charge the gradient bar. Oh well. For the first 2 Pictos we have Burning Shots and Charging Burn. The idea is to shoot Simon until he got his burn and I got my 20% gradient charge for that turn. As long as I didn't use my last AP, I could use Paradigm Shift to get a few more AP back for next turn. Finally, we finish off with the Breaking Death Pictos. When Verso eventually dies, he'll fill up Simon's break bar, giving the team a chance to break him for an extra turn. Now onto the main team, Ciel, Minoko, and Mayel. The basic idea is to use Ciel and Minoko to boost the heck out of Mayel, our only character who holds Painted Power. Let's start with Minoko. Minoko, in my opinion, is the ultimate utility tool. A Lumerian army knife, if you will. His main job in this battle is to pass around AP as much as possible. For this, Bolaro was my best option. The level 10 passive gives 1 AP to all allies when using an upgraded skill, and the level 20 passive gives 2 AP to all allies on Almighty Mask. The first Pictos is faster than strong, which is used to give Minoko an extra turn. This Pictos is nice because it's basically the same as Cheater in this run, because the damage Minoko does is negligible. Next is the Sniper Pictos, which is great for 2 reasons. First, we don't have to give up a turn to cash in on the break that Verso gave us. Second, it gives us a ridiculous amount of speed. If you notice, Minoko is the fastest during the battle by far, getting many more turns than his counterparts. His last Pictos, Energizing Turn, is just as fast. Besides speed, this is used to give Minoko an extra AP to use each turn and really let him take advantage of his skills. Speaking of skills, the one we use the most in this fight is Portier Energy, which gives 1 to 3 AP to each ally. Having this in my pocket while having 2 turns was super useful. Next, we have Chevalier Ice. This slows Simon. This can be super useful because even though we were primarily using Ciel's weapon for speed control, sometimes we get put in a situation where her weapon is only giving rush to the Expeditioners while Simon isn't slowed. Also, if we go into Twilight Stance on Ciel's last turn, we don't get any speed effects until next turn, so having an extra way to slow Simon is very useful. Next, we have Galt Fury, which can mark Simon for extra damage. Also, Gross Tet Whack does the same by giving Simon defenseless. We have Orphalane Cheers, which gives Mayel the powerful boost to do more damage to Simon. Also, if Minoko is on caster mark, it's cheaper to cast than Portier Energy, and it spreads the same amount of AP. Lastly, we have Troubadour Trumpet to give the team 1 or 2 random buffs. I don't think we use this one in the battle, but I liked having it in my back pocket just in case. Next up is Ciel. Her weapon, Lithicin, is my favorite out of all of her weapons, and really shines in this battle. Its level 4 passive gives greater rush to all of our characters during Sun and greater slow to Simon during Moon. Meanwhile, its level 10 passive gives both boosts during Twilight. Its level 20 passive gives plus 3 AP on applying a buff or debuff, which is very nice to have. We wanted to give Ciel as much AP as possible, mainly to give her the ability to buff Mayel through Fortune Fury and pass turns around with intervention. So that's why we have Energy Master equipped, granting an extra AP every time she gains AP. We also have Energizing Attack. This was originally a different Pictos, but we had to change it because we needed the speed boost it provided. The extra AP is nice too. Finally, we have Cheater, which allows Ciel to move twice and gives her a little speed boost. For her skills, we have the obvious, Fortune Fury and Intervention. These are the MVPs of Ciel's moveset for sure. Doubling Mayel's damage makes this all possible. Literally, I don't think I could skip Simon's third phase without it. And without a reserve team with Painted Power, this would be much harder. And Intervention is a useful skill because you can pass to either character as needed. There were even times I was passing to Minoko for extra buffs. All Set is nice because it's an easy way to get into Sun Stance and buff all players. Same goes with Dark Cleansing. With 0 AP you can drop into Moon Stance and pass along buffs to all characters. Marking Card was good to put a mark on Simon if Minoko couldn't get to it. And finally, Twilight Dance would extend Twilight for a turn, which in some cases would allow CL to keep the buffs and debuffs from her weapon passives if Twilight was set to end a turn earlier. Finally, we have Mayel, the damage powerhouse of the team. We start with a fully upgraded Lithum, mainly for its level 4 passive, which keeps marks from going away when hit in Virtuous Stance. Also, the scaling in agility and luck boosts Mayel's speed and crit chance. Her Pictos are mainly made to boost her damage. First, she has At Death's Door equipped, boosting her damage by 50% while health is under 10%. With Simon taking characters down to 1 health, this Pictos is almost always active. Next, we have Empowering Dodge. This boosts her attack by 5% for each successful dodge since last turn, up to 10 times. I picked this one because of the sheer number of hits in each of Simon's combos. If he ever attacks Mayel, she is likely going to end up at full power with this Pictos. Finally, of course, we have the Painted Power Pictos, which allows her to hit for more than 9,999 damage. For Mayel's skills, we have a lot equipped, but only use 3. First, we have Gustave's Homage, which is our primary way to get into Virtuous Stance. Mezzo Forte is how we stay in Virtuous Stance, and Phantom Strike is used to charge the Gradient Bar when it's low. Funny enough, Mayel really is the one that needs to be described the least. She's basically just a go Maj button that you press to win. Well, that's that. This was a fun challenge run through and through. I really like that it allowed me to use the full team without having to worry about powering up one specific set of characters. I have a big problem where I just beef up 3 characters while the other 2 get left in the dust. I never really used the reserve team until this playthrough. If the main homies can't do it, no one can. This playthrough lets you use them all and swap around where you see fit. At least until Act 3, where you kinda have to build around one character with Painted Power. Anyway, if you made it to this point, thanks for watching, hit the like button if you liked it, tell your friends to play Expedition 33, and have a good one.
Good job. No other expedition managed that.
No other expedition had a Lumina Converter.